Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Pure Faith Podcast, a podcast where we discuss all things Bible. I am your host, Michelle Waymeyer, and with me is my brother and co-host, Mitchell Heitkamp.
Hello.
If you haven't done so yet, then we ask that you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the notification icon to be notified when a new release is out. And we also ask that you check out our website, which is
purefaithliving.com.
which is linked in the show description below.
Yes, it is.
Perfect. How are you doing?
I've been better.
Okay, well, we won't go there.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we can if you want to.
I mean, I really hope that you're doing well. Yeah. I don't have a lot to say.
Really?
I said it all. Okay. Some people might be chuckling because I had a lot to say before we started this podcast.
Yeah, you didn't give me time to pray because you...
Is it what? I was telling them that I decided to watch The Chosen. I downloaded an app on my phone, and we talked about it after our last recorded podcast about, the story. And
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch that. I am 5 episodes in. I started it yesterday, and it's really good.
So I took it you didn't go to work today?
Well, I clocked in. Can we delete that?
You work from home, so you can have the TV running in the background.
In the office, and I had my phone. We weren't that busy, so I'm still in the office. So I clocked in and I sat there, and there's nobody to talk to. It's so lonely. No, I do have a couple of coworkers there, and so whenever they're busy and they're not talking to me, then I put in an AirPod and
watch TV.
Right, but I think he's calling me to watch it, like instead of work.
That's a good justification there. Jesus is calling you to do it.
I think it's my calling to watch it right now.
Okay.
I guess watch it on. I started laughing. I got really hot. So I had my birthday, and I'm like, I'm 1 year closer to menopause. Can we start over?
You can't make me laugh.
Sure, on Facebook it's you laughing like that. I hope it is.
Oh.
Everybody needs a little laughter in their life. They need a show.
I could share some very good stories.
No.
That would make people really laugh.
No. Hey, we got a Bible study to do.
Oh. You can tell your stories, but I can't tell mine.
Wait, were they about me?
No.
Oh, well then, yeah, you can tell them. I thought for sure you were going to have some kind of story for me.
They're not 100% appropriate, so I probably shouldn't.
Oh, yeah, okay, we probably shouldn't.
We're
discuss all things Bible. Is menopause Bible?
Probably.
We're going to say yes. That's why we discussed it.
All right. Well, I better get this on track before it gets even worse. Did you even start the timer? Okay.
All right, I'm gonna start a timer. It's just gonna be a little bit. Go ahead and go.
All right. So in our last episode, I'm gonna get something to drink, but you calm down.
Oh, I better get something to drink too. Phew.
Okay. In our last episode, see, now I can't even focus.
No, right? I can't see. My eyes are watery.
We're
right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started to discuss the fact that between Matthew 4:11 and Matthew 4:12, there is at least a year gap in time. So we started talking about the fact that, well, one, we're going to cover that gap, what's happening in that gap that Matthew skips. And in doing that, we started discussing the fact that, okay, so Jesus went and was baptized by John the Baptist. He went to the wilderness for 40 days. Coming out of the wilderness, he comes back across John the Baptist, where John the Baptist gives a witness that, hey, during Jesus' baptism, I've seen the Spirit descend on Jesus and land on Jesus and stay on Jesus. And that was the sign that um, the one who sent John the Baptist, so God or Yahweh, told him that whoever that happened to, that was going to be the Son of God. That was going to be the Messiah. So
That's how he would know.
So John gave this witness that, hey, this is that person who is the Son of God. So he sees Jesus walk and says, "Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world." He gives that whole witness. And so then it goes to the next day, and that's where we're at now.
Okay.
So I think that's a pretty good recap.
You did a very good job.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Like I said, I've been spending a lot of time in this here lately.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, good. Because you had military weekend and then you had a couple days off work. This should be good.
Well, I don't know if it'd be good, but I won't have to use my notes too much, I don't think.
We better stick to the notes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I need to find my right spot in my notes. Okay, so our next stop that we're going to be covering is John 1:35 through 42, and this reads, "The next day, again, John was standing with two of his disciples, and he looked at Jesus, and he looked at Jesus as he walked by, and said, 'Behold the Lamb of God.' The two disciples heard him say this, and they followed Jesus. Jesus turned and saw them following, and said to them, 'What are you seeking?' And they said to him, 'Rabbi,' which means teacher, 'where are you staying?' He said to them, 'Come, and you will see.' So they came and saw where he was staying, and they stayed with him that day, for it was about the 10th hour. One of the two who heard John speak and followed Jesus was Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. He first found his own brother Simon and said to him, 'We have found the Messiah,' which means Christ. He brought him to Jesus. Jesus looked at him and said, 'You are Simon the son of John. You shall be called Cephas,' which means Peter." So this tells us quite a bit, actually. So the first two disciples to, I don't want to say quote unquote, follow Jesus were originally disciples of John the Baptist. And we know that because we literally just read that. And we know that one was Andrew. One of them is actually named. The other one is not named, but most scholars believe, and I hinted at this at the end of our last episode, most scholars believe that the other apostle or the other disciple that was following John the Baptist that then transferred over to Jesus was John the Apostle.
Oh, okay.
Because John and most biblical authors never like talk about themselves in their own writing. They never will use their own name in their writing. So as if you read John, most of the time John refers to himself as the disciple whom Jesus loved, or he'll use other ways of describing himself without saying his actual name.
Okay.
So here he just doesn't talk about the fact that he is the other person, but there's also no description, so that's why it's kind of, they don't know for sure, but most people believe that it was John the Apostle that was the second disciple. So, and this section, this is typically referred to as Jesus is calling his first disciples, but Jesus never actually calls them to follow him.
They just show up?
They literally just show up.
Okay.
They start following Jesus on their own. Jesus didn't prompt them. Jesus didn't ask them.
They know he's the Messiah, so.
Yes. Well, they don't know for sure. They're going off of John the Baptist's testimony.
Right. Okay, right.
So, and that was their original rabbi. And now John the Baptist is saying, this is the Messiah, the Son of God. And the way it works in my mind is they were just like, okay, well, who is this guy? And they've just said to each other, hey, like John, Andrew, like, hey, let's go check this guy out and
We're just
see
gonna
what
follow
he's.
him.
We're just going to see
See if he works
what is.
miracles.
Yeah, see what's going on with him. And Jesus turns around and is like, hey guys, what's up? What are you guys doing? And they're just like, where are you staying? I got nothing else. Where are you staying? So Jesus is like, well, come on, I'll show you.
Okay.
I personally think it was just an excuse for them to spend time with Jesus to see if what John the Baptist was saying, like if there was any validity there, see
Okay.
if they could see what John was saying was true. And as we read, one of the first things that um, Andrew did was he went and got his brother Simon.
Yeah.
And then this is where Jesus tells Simon, hey, your name's not going to be Cephas, which means Peter. And this is Peter the Apostle, which I won't go down that tangent. I almost started to go down a tangent, but
Okay.
I skipped it.
None of that is in your notes.
No, it's not. So is that what?
Actually, it is in your notes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to go on a tangent about Peter and Peter becoming the rock on which the church was built, but that's not in line with what we're trying to teach you right now.
Okay.
So this whole concept, I take a little bit of challenge or issue. She seems a little strong, but the fact that this is the first calling of the disciples, Jesus doesn't actually call them. And not only that, as we get through this, I mean, they're called disciples because that is what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But this area now, I don't think he's calling them to full-time discipleship. Because once we start reading some of the other gospels later on, like especially when we get back to Matthew's account of how Jesus calls the disciples is completely different. Not only is it's these exact same guys, it's Andrew, Simon, John, and James. The way they're called. This isn't this. This is just like an initial meeting, hanging out, getting to know each other. Now I'm sure during this time together, Andrew, Simon, and John are like, hey, we think this guy's legit. So we want to become your disciples.
Right.
And they may even convince Jesus to let them be his disciples. But as we get into the next section, that's when the first time he actually calls somebody to follow him.
Okay.
So we'll just go ahead and go right into that. So I think I covered everything in my notes. I didn't actually read them, but sure.
Sure.
So the next section is John 1:43 through 51. And this reads, the next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, follow me. Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, we have found him of whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. Nathanael said to him, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Philip said to him, come and see. Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him and said to him, behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no deceit. Nathanael said to him, how do you know me? Jesus answered him, before Philip called you, you were under the fig tree. I saw you. Nathanael answered him, Rabbi, you are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel. Jesus answered him, behold, I said to you, I saw you under the fig tree. Do you believe? You will see greater things than these. And he said to him, truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. So again, I use the English Standard Version. But so after Jesus spends that day or so with Andrew, Simon, and John, that's John the Apostle, not John the Baptist, Jesus decides he's going to go to Galilee. It doesn't say that these disciples went with him. So we don't know for sure. It really doesn't matter. But Jesus goes to Galilee, and we assume he went to Bethsaida because that city is mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So if he didn't go to actual Bethsaida, he went to that area, which would be on the northeast corner of the Sea of Galilee. So
Okay.
if you guys got your maps,
I do
it's
have
actually
it.
it's be up on the northeast corner. So it's right
Yep,
there.
I see it.
So he goes up to that area, and it does mention that this is also the hometown of um,
And
Simon and Andrew.
Andrew, yeah.
So he comes across Philip. There's really no mention of where he finds Philip or how he finds Philip, but he comes across Philip, and Philip is the first one he actually calls and says, "Follow me." So that's why I kind of have a belief, and this is just my belief. This isn't like scholarly or anything, but what makes sense in my mind
Mm-hmm.
is okay, that initial meeting with those other three, they kind of convinced Jesus, like, "Hey, you are a rabbi." I mean, they called him rabbi, they called him
Mm-hmm.
teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So they convinced Jesus to let them be his disciples. Well, at that point, well, Jesus is like, well, okay, the ball's rolling, so let me just go ahead and start calling other disciples. But again, and I'm gonna call them disciples, but I don't think they're in full-time discipleship. They're We'll come across areas where it shows like these disciples, they go back to their normal jobs.
Mm.
They're not following Jesus 24/7. This first year of Jesus' ministry, he's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have all these disciples following him. He doesn't have all this other stuff going on. So they go back to fishing or doing whatever it is they do, and he was going to call them into full-time discipleship later on.
Okay.
But so yeah, so he spends that first time with Andrew, Simon, and John. He goes up to Galilee. Like I said, he most likely went to Bethsaida, found Philip, said, "Follow me." Well, then Philip goes and finds Nathanael. Well, Nathanael, that name, I think it's only mentioned in one other place in the Bible, but most scholars believe this is Nathanael Bartholomew. So, like
Yeah.
Bartholomew is mentioned in the Apostles and everything else, and they think this is the same person.
Oh.
And the reason they think that is Bartholomew, whenever that bar is in front of a name, that means son of. So it's son
Oh.
of whoever. So like Bar Jonas is one that keeps coming to mind. So it'd be the son of Jonas
Huh.
or Bar Joseph or Bar whatever. That just means it's the son of whatever. For some reason, Nathaniel is like pretty much just called by his last name all the time.
Hmm.
So I don't know why, but I think it's not Nathaniel Bartholomew. So I think that is who this actually is. And I could go into detail about why, but we won't worry about that. So now that he has technically 5 disciples that we know of that are quote unquote following him.
Following him.
And actually, man, we're at 105 already. No, you guys aren't going to have notes for the next
Nope.
section. How much time we got left?
11 minutes.
Sorry,
I asked.
I didn't think I was going
I
to get through it
asked. I
that
said, "Do
fast.
we have notes tonight?" And you're like,
I
"Just what
didn't
we
think I'd get through it
had."
that fast.
Well, we'll just listen, I guess.
Okay.
But you'll have to give us notes probably afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, so the next section that we are going to go through, and this will probably be the last section. So besides you started your timer late anyways.
No, but I set it for 25.
Sure.
I did. You can stop
So
anytime. I got plenty to say. I
I
can.
better keep talking. So John 2, 1 through 5. On the third day there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." So we're just stopping there because we don't need to read the whole miracle. Um, but as everybody knows, probably well aware of this miracle, this is the miracle where Jesus turns water into wine.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what we're focusing on. We're not focusing on that miracle. We're focusing on the timeline of what's going on in Jesus' life. So now this started out on the third day. Well, this is the third day since he left Judea.
Okay.
So whenever he was going into Galilee.
Okay.
So his first stop was in Bethsaida,
Mm-hmm.
and then he went over here to this wedding. So if you have your maps,
I do have.
so Cana, well, you know where Bethsaida was. You
Yep.
found that. So if you go southwest,
Oh,
you
I
see
see it.
Cana
Mhm.
and Nazareth.
Yes.
Cana is about 9 miles north of Nazareth. So that's about like 9 mile gap right there between those two.
Okay.
In this area, again, this is where he's going to be doing a lot of his ministry, a lot of his traveling, is between that Bethsaida, along the east side of the Sea of Galilee, and over towards that Nazareth, Cana. I mean, he does dip down further south and goes further north, but the majority, the heart of his discipleship or his ministry is right there in that section. Excuse me. So it says that, so yeah, on third day was the wedding at Cana in Galilee. The mother of Jesus was there. So again, not only does John never actually mention his own self, he doesn't mention his own name.
Okay.
He never actually mentions the name of Jesus's mother. He always just says the mother of Jesus, or in some way, shape, or form, he says it that way. He never actually says Mary.
Hmm.
So I don't know why. I didn't do that much research into figuring out why, but
Okay.
just an interesting fact. But the fact that Mary is even there at the wedding would lead us to believe that maybe it was some sort of family.
Yeah.
Like somehow there was some sort of relation that Mary was there, and if you watch The Chosen, she was actually there helping, like set up for the wedding, which I don't know if that's accurate or not, but um,
I haven't gotten to that episode yet.
you'll
Maybe
get there.
maybe tomorrow.
See how busy you are at work.
We'll see.
But yeah, just the fact that she is there, it does kind of lead us to believe that maybe it was a family wedding. But not only that, but if you go to the very next line, it says Jesus also was invited to the wedding.
Yes.
So again, now mother and son are both invited. Start to think that it's family.
Mm-hmm.
But then the weird part and is the rest of that sentence. And forever, I always looked at it as in the disciples were invited with Jesus, because it literally says Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. But if you think about it, he only knew these disciples for like 3 days. So those who, it's not like they had phones where they could call and text and call. Like, no, this was, you have to walk over from this city to that city and be like, hey, I have some disciples. Can I bring them? I'm pretty sure he didn't walk over there and ask and then walk back and get them, then walk back. It was just, no. So the fact that he's only had these disciples, well, three of them for 3 days, two of them for a day, that kind of takes away the credibility that these disciples were invited because of Jesus. So most likely, all his disciples that he's called were also invited to this wedding for their own reasons, whether they be friends, other family, whatever.
Whatever it is.
So they just happened to be together, and so they traveled to this wedding together. Well, there is some thin biblical evidence, not thin, that John the Apostle and his brother James were actually first cousins to Jesus.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it's thin.
Okay.
So the whole idea behind it is, we know that John and James were the sons of Zebedee. If Zebedee's wife was Salome. If it was the right Salome, then that Salome would have been the mother or the sister of Mary.
Okay.
So
If.
if it's
Yeah.
it's thin,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying it's accurate. I thought it was interesting,
Yeah.
and it would make a
It
lot
makes
more sense.
It makes sense.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of other things make sense, but
Who knows?
again, we don't actually
Yeah.
know. So again, this wedding was the first miracle, at least recorded miracle, in the Bible that Jesus performed, and it was just turning water to wine.
It was just
that. I mean, no big deal.
no big.
No big deal. So yeah. So then after that, just a brief little. The Bible just has a brief little. It's John 2:12, and it's just John 2:12, and it just says that after the wedding or following the wedding in Cana, Jesus traveled with his family and his disciples to Capernaum,
Okay, so travel north.
and they spent a few days in Capernaum,
Okay.
and that's probably where we're going to stop for now.
Okay.
Because whenever we come back in our next episode, that's when we will be going into the first Passover that Jesus celebrates during his ministry. I mean, he's been through probably 30 Passovers in the past, but this will be the first one where he's actually a rabbi. So we'll get into that and everything that happens there. And so, yeah, we should actually get caught up within 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh, good.
We'll get back into Matthew.
Okay.
As long as I can avoid tangents.
Well, we all like your tangents.
No, you don't.
Well, Kelsey doesn't so much, but I think everybody else
No,
does.
nobody cares about Kelsey.
Sorry, Kels.
Don't act surprised.
Oh, shoot. All right, hand this over to me.
Sure.
Whoops. Okay.
Oh, you broke it.
Right? All right. So, we thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pure Faith Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can just send us a friendly hello or leave a comment on this video, or you can go to the purefaithliving.com email address, send us a message there, and one of us will contact you back.
Sure. Going rogue.
We are. Like, I totally have no idea what I'm saying. And as always, I lost my place, but I wasn't gonna be like Mitchell. Be like, wait, I lost my place. So I just made it up. All right. Anyhow, and as always, if you like what you hear, then we ask that you share this show with others so we can all work together in spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will talk to you again next time. But hold on, time out. See, I went through that, but I totally forgot to say something.
What?
What did I say I would talk about first thing tonight when we came in?
The refrigerator.
Refrigerators. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Matt's
totally
mad.
forgot. Matt is going to be so mad. So, you guys have heard me complain about Matt's refrigerators. The one that's was in Mitchell's driveway.
Well, that one was technically mine. It wasn't Matt's.
Actually, I guess I complained more about the one that was in your driveway. Yeah. And after the one windstorm, like the whole door fell off, the freezer door, and it was like in the field.
Which I never mentioned this. So it actually it blew over. It was standing up in between the garage doors. Outside. It was junk. It didn't work anyways.
But it's just the fact that it's outside in front of your garage.
Oh, yeah. But it turned 90 degrees, fell on its back. It did just scratch my garage door a little bit. But when I got home and I seen it laying down, I was like, wow, that looks like it's perfectly straight along that door. So I literally went into the garage, got my tape measure out, and measured it. It was literally within a 16th of an inch.
Oh my God.
Long. It would have been perfect if the wind wasn't pushing the door in.
Oh my goodness. Anyhow.
Perfect. That was the Lord working there. That was perfect.
No, the Lord worked by Matt taking it away. So they are gone. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. It is a miracle. Mitchell's is gone. Matt's refrigerator's gone. The junk is gone.
Yeah.
My timer's going off, so I'm glad that I was able to tell you guys this story. But thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matthew. We greatly
And that was all Matt. I was gone that weekend when
We
he did.
greatly appreciate it. I can also tell you, this is how far it went. Kendra sent me a Snapchat video. And she's like, Michelle, I just thought you might need to know. She drove past her house. She was recording. She had her eyes on the road.
We think.
She was driving. She went past her house. She was like, Michelle, it is a miracle. And she drove past yours. She's like, both refrigerators are gone. And I'm like, oh, praise Jesus.
I think that refrigerator bothered more people than it did Paige and I.
No, it bothered Paige. It didn't bother you.
It didn't bother me.
So we are no longer living in the hillbilly part of Gafina Road. Yes, no words.
There's only 2 houses.
Right, and they both are owned by hike camps.
Yeah.
No more hillbillies.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, again, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And we hope you had a good laugh tonight with or today or whenever you're watching this or listening to it. So thanks for joining us and have a blessed day. Come on.
I should have said it with you.
Okay, ready? Have a blessed day.
That was lame.
It was.